across a very beautiful land acknowledgement. It's kind of in the form of a poem, and it was written by a man named Roger Davies, who is a Quaker from Halifax, and he came up with this land acknowledgement. I won't lie, I'm still working on mine, and I tried to open it on my home computer, but it would not enable me to look at it from home. So I got to figure that out, and this was not the time to do that. So anyway, I found this one, and it really spoke to me. So have a listen and give me your feedback. And it's just called Acknowledging. Time immemorial of seasons turning and returning, the coming of night and the coming of dawn, endless turning and returning. Before surveying and the instruments of surveying and the abstraction of the straight line delineating the mapped on plot of theft, then, as now, the living land acknowledges the first people. The first people acknowledge the land. No colonizing nouns and colonizing verbs for slicing off a piece, decreed possession, and it. The grandmothers, then as now, still walking, still protecting, still acknowledging the sounds in the trees, the sounds of the waters, acknowledging the walking, the protecting, speaking, listening, a oneness. And to those who showed up late, take the path of a lifetime, acknowledging what we, newly arrived, don't know. And I really like that because it speaks to, all of those sort of abstract concepts that we just accept. And First Nations people have had a hard time accepting that somebody owns the land. We share the land. There is no ownership. Somebody, doesn't understand the value of, only taking what's needed and giving back and making sure that respect the land and nature and those kinds of important things that First Nations people have always known. And of late, some of us are coming to appreciate that more and more. So that really spoke to me, and I appreciated that. So I wanted to share that with you guys since I still don't have my land acknowledgement. I really hope to have it at least completed before before we wrap up, which we will do that April 15th. So we've got still a couple more weeks. And then I have some poems by Donna Ashworth again, who's just so brilliant. There's two of them, and there's one that I want to read first, and there's one that I want to read second. Okay, so this is the first one, and it's called The Hardening and the Hate. The first time the world breaks your heart, the shock is overwhelming. You learn quite quickly that life is cruel and often unfair, and so the hardening starts. The next time the world breaks your heart, you get angry at yourself for not seeing it approach, and then the self-hatred begins. As life goes on, you harden and you hate yourself more and more. And with every heartbreak that comes, you harden and you hate and you harden. And you don't even see how your own cruelty towards yourself is causing you even more pain than the world itself. How to end this cycle? You soften and you love and you soften. And you know that pain will always come, but there's no need to make that worse by joining in. In so many ways, we need to be compassionate with ourselves and not believe everything that we think is true about ourselves or what others say or inflict on us. And so the antidote to that is this one called Light Begets Light. There will be times when your light is dim, when there is scarce enough to fulfill your own needs, never mind anyone else's. And on those days, it is vital that you seek out more light elsewhere. It's free and readily available. You simply have to ask. There will be other times when you are simply brimming with that light, so full, in fact, that you cannot help but throw it around like confetti, covering everything in the beauty it brings. Do so. You may think that you have to stockpile that light to warm you when the days are dark, but that's not how this energy works. You give when you can, you take when you need, and so the circle goes around. Light begets light. It never stops forming. So accept the light on those thundery days and shower this parched world with it when you are the one who is shining. Light begets light. I like that one very much. Okay, so just to let you know what we have in store, I've got one that is a visualization of a walk in a forest. I thought this was a perfect time, so we may do that, where we're definitely going to do that, but I'm just sort of trying to figure out our timing. But I did have a request from somebody last week, and actually it was more of an observation. They were just sort of talking about the challenges of meditation. And then I found this wonderful little article called The Skeptic's Guide to Meditation. And I'm not going to kind of reiterate lots and lots of things that we've talked about over the many different sessions, because I think you guys are the true believers. You are the choir, and I don't need to preach to you, do I? But some of the most common ones, and I felt this way myself, and then I just remind myself, oh, that's just what you're saying right now. Um, the biggest one is I can't meditate because my mind is too busy. And in reality, that's quite good news, because that means your mind is functioning. The bad news is, that's how it is for just about everyone. And you're not particularly special in that regard. Everyone's mind is out of control sometimes. Even experienced meditators struggle with distraction, and you don't need to clear your mind to meditate. It's all about noticing, it's all about being aware. And as we're also aware, meditation does incredible things to the brain by calming your mind, regulating your emotions, helping to manage thoughts, improve focus, boost your mood, and enhance your outlook on life. So those are just some of the many, many positive things about meditation. But I do want to cover something that was a direct observation by someone who said that they enjoy meditation, but sometimes things will interrupt. Like maybe they've had a bad cold and they've got a cough, and so then there's a little tickle or something, and they cough, and then they judge themselves in that moment, and they say things like, and then it's ruined. The meditation is ruined because I can't stop. I'm coughing all the time. So, what we do with that is give yourself some grace and patience that it's normal. If we have a little tickle in the throat, that's not going to disturb anything. Can you notice that with gentleness? Can you be aware, oh, okay, this might be a little challenging, or I'm going to judge myself for coughing. I'm going to feel like I'm, wasting my time. I'm not able to meditate. Because in truth, awareness of coughing, awareness of even your feelings about coughing and about feeling like you're going to ruin the meditation, that's a meditation on meditating, if you will. That's a clear signal to, oh, be kind to yourself, be gentle, and it's okay if you're coughing. Now, none of us like to think that we're disturbing other people. So if we're coughing with a group of people, like in a concert or in a meditation practice with many other people, many, many times I've been in meditation sessions and instructed people, it's okay. You can leave if you want to leave, or you can still cough and we'll all notice, but we're going to send you healing. We're going to send you care and consideration. and removing that kind of stress when we're coughing almost helps to soothe the tickle that's there. So just consider that next time. My sister was in London, England, a couple of months ago, and she was watching a play when one of her favorite actors in it, and she started to cough, and she was absolutely mortified. And she felt like even the actor on stage was glaring at her and the people around her. And she couldn't sit. She just had to leave. And that was probably more disruptive for her and people around her than if she had sat and just gently, it's okay, and just took some breaths and breathe. But we panic and we don't always do the most skillful things. So I just want to help you perhaps consider something like that. If you're coughing, gentle, gentle, it's okay. Everyone around you understands. Everyone around you has been there at that time. And if they are glaring at you, that's their journey, I guess. But it's a tricky thing, and I just want to put that out there so that even if you're coughing or sneezing or whatever, it doesn't have to be an interruption to anything. It's part of being human. So perhaps you can think about that the next time you feel like you're really disrupting something or causing someone some stress. Okay, I think I want to do the forest visualization last. And I want us to kind of talk a little bit about something that I don't know. I came across this and I thought, ooh, so valuable. So many thoughts about this are valuable. And that is how to let go of something. I think, I don't know what's going on with my computer, with my internet, but I seem to be fading and I don't know, and then getting very bright and fading. So I apologize again for those technical difficulties, but we'll just go with it. So this is about letting go, because the opposite of letting go is when we actually sort of increase our suffering. And let me give you an example of that. Oh, yeah. So, you know how if it's cold out and and I just remember days of waiting for the bus and it would be cold and, you hunch up your shoulders and you pull up your collar and oh, it's so cold, it's so cold, it's so cold. And, we start to shiver, and actually shivering is supposed to help increase our body heat. So I guess, but I never felt good. It never felt good. And I just want you to notice, like oh, so cold, I'm so cold. And then, what are we doing? Are we increasing our suffering in that moment? Are we increasing our feeling of being cold? And, are we helping ourselves in that moment? Because, hiking your shoulders up, I know we're sort of, trying to lock in the heat and stuff, but actually, this kind of tension that we create in those muscles, it really can kind of add additional suffering to our bodies. So the wisdom is to take a breath in, drop the shoulders, maybe tighten up your collar, make sure you're appropriately dressed. But then what? Gently notice that it's cold this morning. Oh my goodness, look at that. Look at those beautiful birds that are perched on the tree over there, or look at that sun shining on, that sparkling snow, or whatever. Can you, in that moment, become aware of something other than, oh, it's so cold, it's so cold, it's so cold? Because when we do that, we actually increase our suffering. Does that make sense to folks? It certainly made sense to me. And I noticed that with a lot of things, that I have a choice sometimes to kind of, enhance something. I almost kind of visualize like pouring gasoline on that, making it bigger than it needs to be, or we have a choice of maybe not even attending to some negative things very much. And sometimes we need to not attend deliberately, not look at the news, not attend to something that someone has said that was cruel or a bit harsh or whatever, because making a bigger deal of it may not be effective and may cause more tension or drama or something. So we have choices always. And it never hurts to just pause for a moment, drop your shoulders down, take a breath in, and ask yourself, what do I feel in this moment? And so, yeah, hopefully that helps you to be skillful. But then these little additional words about letting go can also sort of be meaningful, hopefully. Especially when it comes to the people in our lives. To let go doesn't mean that we stop caring. It means that we can't do it for someone else, nor can we change it for someone else. To let go is not to cut myself off. It's the realization that I can't control anybody but who? Myself, right? We don't have any control over anybody else. To let go is not to enable, but to allow learning from natural consequences. That's an interesting one because it's so hard. We usually want to protect people. We don't want them to make a mistake. So we try. We try to encourage them. We try to talk to them. We try to discourage them from doing something. And we create a lot of suffering and tension in our bodies when we do that. It's hard. It's so hard to let people learn the hard way, isn't it? To let go is to admit powerlessness, which means the outcome is not in my hands. To let go is not to try to change or blame another. I can only change myself. To let go is not to care for, but to care about. To let go is not to fix, but to be supportive. To let go is not to judge, but to allow another to be a human being. To let go is not to be in the middle, arranging all the outcomes, but to allow others to affect their own outcomes. To let go is not to be overly protective, it's to permit another to face reality. To let go is not to deny, but to accept. That's a hard one. To let go is not to nag, scold, or argue, but to search out our own shortcomings and to correct them, to be the change. To let go is not to adjust everything to my desires, but to take each day as it comes and to accept that others may have a different goal. To let go is not to criticize and regulate anyone, but to try to become what dream I can be. To let go is not to regret the past, but to grow and live for today, our shared future. And I would add to that to live and to learn from the past. So not to live in the past, but to learn from the past. And then finally, to let go is to fear less and to live more. So those are helpful things that we can all consider doing. That doesn't mean that we become passive. It's a tricky thing, the difference between letting go and passivity. But I think it means we try to do what we can, and we accept that sometimes we cannot fix, and we're not going to make ourselves bloody. We're not going to keep running into that brick wall. If there's a brick wall, it's kind of madness to keep running into it, running into it, running into it, and we're bloody. So you might run into it once, you might run into it twice, and then you have to sort of, okay, that's not wise. I'm going to accept that there's a brick wall there. And, I don't agree with the brick wall. I don't particularly like the brick wall, but it's there. And I'm not going to keep hurting myself. Okay. So, the next practice that I have is one of relaxation, and it's called Coming Home to Being. And so, it's been a fair amount of my chit chat and my education piece. And so now it's time to really let our minds absorb the message. And how do we do that? Well, it works so much better when we're comfortable and we're relaxed, right? If you think about teachers that you've learned from the best, it's the teachers that helped you feel safe and it was okay to make a mistake. You didn't feel you were going to be judged or that there was going to be any harsh punishment. That it was okay. and we could relax into that. And that's so important in meditation, and that's my hope. So now we're going to let all of that stuff that we just sort of that I shared with you, we're going to let that kind of percolate inside us. Our conscious mind has listened and heard, and now our unconscious mind is gonna let that percolate and do something with it. And one of the ways that we're going to do that is to bring some relaxation to ourselves in this moment. Because, we just keep continuing to be challenged, don't we? So, and we have to accept that. Yeah, this is the way it is right now. And of course, if there are small things we can do to be protective of ourselves, to stand up for what we believe, of course, we should do that. But let's not make ourselves bloody. Okay. So this meditation is basically called coming home to being. It's often said that more than being a human being, we're more like human doings. There's always so much to do, and there's this to think about and that to do, and it's just go, go, go. And so I like and I appreciate this meditation because it really encourages us to slow down and really become the human beings that we are all meant to be. So in this moment, adjusting your particular posture. If you're sitting and you need to adjust anything, I might just move my camera a little bit closer. Yeah, and taking in a wonderful cleansing breath in through your nose, if that serves you. And a nice slow exhale out your mouth. One more like that, breathing in, filling your chest, and then we're going to do a little cyclic sigh there, and then a lovely slow exhale out. And now one more, the breath of your choosing. Breathing in slowly, quickly, however you want, but this is your choice now. How do you want to breathe in this moment? Big breath, little breath, shallow breath. Noticing whatever you can notice about that breath. It was interesting. I was able to notice, I think, a scent of fresh air in the room that I'm sitting in. Coming into stillness now, collecting our attention, and if it serves you, closing the eyes. If it serves you, closing our physical eyes. And we can open this practice in this simple way of breathing together as we do, taking in the deeper breaths, long, slow exhales, and enjoying as we sit and breathe the sensations of relaxing, of following the rhythm of our breathing in and breathing out, letting go as we inhale, noticing the expansion of our lungs as we breathe in and how it softens and how we can release that exhale, letting go as we do that, letting go again, breathing in. And sometimes it's helpful to hold or pause a little bit when we breathe in, breathing out, softening, letting go. And in this moment, I would invite you to let your breath resume its natural cycle. And let's just follow that natural breathing for about 3 minutes of clock time. I'll cue you when that comes up, but I will, sort of remind you that your mind is probably going to wander in those 3 minutes, and that's really okay. As soon as you notice, just come on back to the breath, just as simple as that. Or maybe the whole 3 minutes is spent, planning your grocery list or reminding yourself of something that you've forgotten. That's okay. Do you know why it's okay? Because it's all awareness. So I'm just going to invite you for about 3 minutes to breathe and become aware of whatever you're able to notice in this moment, whatever it is. Welcome it all. So let's begin. It almost seems a shame to interrupt the silence. I would invite you to notice how present you feel in this moment. And perhaps, with all of your senses being a little more relaxed, maybe a little more aware, noticing sounds around you, maybe even what your inner voice might be saying to you in this moment. Perhaps really feeling into the sensations of breathing, as well as the sensations in your body. Just what it's like to be right here, right now, with whatever you're being aware of. Listening to your heart, sensing the state of your heart right now in this moment. Really checking in. How is my heart right now? Notice if there's a quality of openness, closed, tender, numb, fearful, soft, racing, heaviness, hurt. Listen and feel into your heart, sensing most deeply what your heart is needing or wanting most deeply. What is the longing of your heart? I'd like to give you some time to really gently answer those questions. What is it that brings you to this meditation practice? What is your aspiration? It's so helpful to intentionally relax our body. So right now, if you notice obvious places of tension or tightness or holding or feeling on guard in your body, I'm going to invite you to be aware of that. We're going to sort of go through our bodies with just this kind of loving care and attention. And I like to start with the eyes, our physical eyes, just to let your eyes be soft, letting your brow be smooth, because we carry a lot of tension in our face, when we're thinking and trying to solve problems or thinking about what comes next. So letting your physical eyes be smooth and perhaps letting your hardworking eyes, let the eyelids rest closed. I'm also going to invite you to do something that might help with the thinking parts of us, our brain, and all those aspirations that we have, those things that enter our awareness that sometimes feel intrusive or that kind of can create tension. And a lovely little side practice that is so helpful is to imagine the presence of a mind's eye, the part of your mind that remains active even as your body is sitting still. Because just as you have physical eyes that see the world around you, you also have an inner eye that we call the mind's eye. And it continues to see even when our physical eyes are shut. The mind's eye continues to actively see images and process thoughts, even as your body relaxes deeply in stillness. But you can imagine that your mind's eye also has an eyelid, like your physical eyes do, and that your mind's eye can relax and become gradually more and more at ease, becoming more relaxed, and gradually even to grow more tired. And that mind's eyelid becomes heavy and it begins to drop closed. And as it begins to close, it can begin to close out stray thoughts and images, and it can leave your mind perfectly quiet and restful, open and free to experience whatever you would like. With your mind's eye closed, more and more, your mind grows quiet and more restful, allowing you to focus on how relaxed and attentive you are becoming. So with that awareness and letting go of tension in our face, in our eyes, and in our mind, we can just begin to notice more and more sensations as we breathe, the sensations of our chest rising and falling with each breath. As you notice and sense the stillness of this moment, perhaps with some tender curiosity of what you will become aware of or what you will experience next, as you sense into the weight of your body sitting on the surface that you're sitting on. Maybe you become aware of the pressure on your sit bones or the pressure of your back resting against the chair, the weight of your arms and hands that are resting either on your lap or on armrests or just beside your body. Noticing these physical sensations, noticing the state of your body. Is there a warmth or a coolness? Is there ease, tightness, pain? Noticing, simply holding it all in your gentle awareness, because you are here in this moment, feeling all the sensations that are there to be felt. Noticing how present you can become with your awareness, with whatever you're aware of, the pleasant, the unpleasant, the neutral, whether there's pain, tension, worry, fear, or nothing much. Holding it all. Can we hold it all without judgment? Can we relax in this spacious feeling of awareness? Taking this moment right now to be with it all. Breathing, breathing with it all. Feel the benefit of simply breathing in this present moment, right here, right now, in this present moment of awareness. And sometimes with gentleness, we return again and again to the breath, to this moment, and this becomes our self-care, our meditative practice. Perhaps sensing a smile at your lips, a smile in your eyes, allowing that smile and those positive feelings that we're experiencing to kind of spread down into our shoulders and our arms, into our heart center, creating more relaxation and openness as we breathe in and as we release that breath, allowing there to be more room of what we do want to take in that will nourish us, that will relax us. Breathing in, and as we exhale, letting go, letting go, letting go. Noticing that sense of spaciousness and openness, letting that fill our bodies, our hearts, our minds, widening the shoulders so that there's space to relax, letting our shoulders drop down, back, and away, relaxing more and more as we sense the softness spreading from our heart center into our bellies, into our low back, and into our sit bones. Really feeling from the inside out a gentle softening. Sometimes we can visualize that as a melting sensation or a feeling of groundedness and heaviness. Or sometimes people like to imagine it as an untangling, that things become smooth and soft, smooth and soft, as we let that comfortable feeling spread into our legs, our large, muscled legs, our knees and our shins, and all the way down to our ankles and our feet, and finally our toes. Our toes, sensing the aliveness in our toes. And where else can you sense aliveness and tingling? Perhaps in your hands and in your fingers. All of this softening and relaxing from the inside out to become receptive to what is. Again, breathing in and allowing our chest to open wide. And as we exhale, letting there be relaxation and a loosening of any tension or tightness that we might notice in this moment. Perhaps softening our bellies, letting our backs be supported, sinking just a little bit more into the surface that we're connected with. Just as a glass can be filled with water, our whole body can be filled with this gentle, soothing awareness, sensing the space and the aliveness deep in our torsos, placing that awareness inside our legs, our upper legs, and all the muscles down the legs, the shins and the calves, feeling all of these places in our bodies, feelings of pressure, contact, warmth that allow you to feel connected to whatever you might be sitting or resting on. Again, allowing yourself to not oppose anything, but to experience with openness, open attention, the dance of all of our sensations, all over our amazing bodies, all over our amazing bodies, the inner experience of our bodies. And let's just pause here for about 2 minutes while we continue to experience the awareness of our bodies. And that's been 2 minutes. I'd like to invite you now to open again to the sounds in the room that you're sitting in, letting yourself be receptive to notice these sounds that come to you, appearing and disappearing. Maybe now you can hear sounds that are outside of the room that you're sitting in. And isn't it interesting? We take for granted those sounds and how it actually feels to hear. It's really beyond our conscious awareness, but there is something that happens when our ears sense a sound. There are these microscopic hairs that move, and when they do that, they stimulate the auditory nerve, and that's how our brain interprets sound. And that's so amazing and so miraculous. So really sensing in, using your auditory sense, knowing that all of that awareness of sound, awareness of body sensation, awareness of breath, all of it is pure and formless awareness that is always available to you. And when you can notice changing sensations and help yourself to, more awareness, maybe sensing an alertness or a stillness that's right here as you continue to rest with the wholeness of your being. Sometimes, it's natural for our brains to do what brains beautifully do, which is to begin to think and problem solve again. And, with a little bit of a sense of humor, you can say, oh, there I go again. Take a lovely breath in and a nice slow exhale out. And just come back to whatever is nourishing you in this moment. Sometimes it's the awareness of, well, in this moment, I need to get ready myself. I need to get ready to do something else that I would like to accomplish in this day. No harm done. You've given yourself a lovely, lovely timeout, so to speak, a lovely chance to just be in this moment. So don't judge. Whatever time you can give to yourself with gentle awareness and peace, it's beautiful practice. And so just allowing yourself to really, really accept that in this moment, you're pretty okay. And in fact, that's a whole other practice that we're going to do right now, because several times a day, you can invite yourself to notice that you're basically okay. Nothing horrible is happening, that you're okay. Sometimes we have worries and anxiety about wanting more money or more love or companionship or more ketchup for your french fries. Or we want less pain, less heartache, less traffic, less noise, all very reasonable. But meanwhile, underneath all of that toing and froing, you're okay. One of my very favorite teachers, Jon Kabat-Zinn, famously says, at every opportunity it seems, that as long as you're breathing, there's more right with you than wrong with you. Very true. Underneath desires and all the busyness of life, there is an aliveness and an awareness that you're doing just fine. You're doing just fine. There you are, going about your day. Maybe you're making supper, and you can notice In this moment, I'm all right. Right now, I'm all right. You can say that softly in your mind. Or you're driving and no car accident has happened. You haven't been rear-ended or sideswiped, and I'm all right now. Or you're talking with someone and it's enjoyable, and a little part of you becomes aware of maybe how stimulating this conversation is, or maybe it's boring, or maybe you've heard it again, or, oh, this person really, really needs to talk to someone right now. Whatever it is, you're all right. You're all right. Or you're answering emails, or, climbing into bed. You're all right. Right now, in this moment, you're all right. Notice that. Notice how it feels to even say those words to yourself. I'm all right. Right now, I'm all right. Or you can say, I'm okay. Whatever feels better to say. Notice that while you're feeling all right, you get plenty of things done. You solve problems. You do things that need doing. And maybe sometimes fear sneaks in that bad things are going to happen. And you know that expression, we have nothing to fear but fear itself. Because fear lies to us sometimes. Fear makes things bigger. It amplifies. Sometimes. Sometimes it is appropriate to be afraid and to take action. We talked about that last week, about how, if there's a vicious dog coming towards you, you're going to need to protect yourself. But how often are there vicious dogs coming towards us? Sometimes we sense something that's unkind in someone else, or sometimes we fear confrontations. And I get that, because it's kind of human nature to avoid difficult interactions. But in the avoidance of that, sometimes we bathe ourselves in a lot of fear and stuff that isn't true. And sometimes it's worth remembering that no one can hurt you right now. Maybe you were hurt in the past, but in this moment right now, you're basically okay, and no one can hurt you. And sometimes it's important to remind yourself that your fears, although they may seem really big, they're not necessarily true. And you don't always need to feel that fear. But it's also true that sometimes you're not all right. Maybe something terrible has happened, or you're experiencing a great deal of pain because you've injured yourself, or your mind is very upset by things that are happening around you. That's also part of being a living, breathing human being. Do what you can during those times to ride out the storm, to take very, very good care of yourself, to do whatever is needed to bring comfort to yourself. Sometimes that means that you need to leave a situation. You can do that. The only people that can't leave situations sometimes are small children, or the disabled, vulnerable people, or the very, very elderly. They are very vulnerable, aren't they? But in this moment, that's not you right now. As soon as you're able to bring a sense of calm to yourself, remind yourself that you're okay. You're okay. You're okay. You're okay. like the quiet place that's 50 feet underwater beneath a hurricane that's howling above the sea. Drop down and sense the stillness. You're okay. And I, for one, have had to practice this many times when, something really difficult is happening in front of me, or, I think about the last car accident that I was in and how, an airbag deployed in my face. And, and it was really scary. And it took me a moment. I was in a little bit of shock. Then I remembered to breathe. And then I repeated to myself, you're okay. You're okay. And I'm checking around, at the other people and my little dog that was in the car. He's okay. Everybody's okay. We're all okay. We're all okay. Because at the end of the day, noticing that you're actually all right now is not just kind of laying a positive attitude over your life like a tablecloth over a table or a curtain that you're closing. Instead, you're knowing a simple but profound fact that in this moment, I'm all right. You're sensing the truth in your body, and that truth is deeper than fear. And that is that you're breathing and you're living and you're okay. You're recognizing that your mind is functioning fine, no matter how silly the thoughts are, no matter how big the fears may seem, and the contents that sometimes swirl around. Taking a breath in, and that compassionate care that you can bring to yourself with those gentle, reassuring words that you're okay right now, in this moment, you're okay. Yeah. It's nice to feel okay with you in this moment. And oh my goodness, it's 7:56 and my battery and my computer's about to give up. I've never seen it do that before. So I think on that note, I think I'm going to invite you to think of a loving kindness intention that you need to hear inside your head, inside your heart. And I'm going to invite you to just do what we do with loving kindness intentions and repeat it 3 times. And then when we're finished doing that, we're going to take a lovely deep breath in, and we'll breathe out, and we'll send those loving kind intentions. So go ahead, do that right now. My wish for you is to be the kindness, be the light, and know that I'm looking at all of your names. Some of you I've met in person, and I just want to share, all of our collective care for each other and wisdom. And it was really lovely spending this time with you. May you all be well. May you all be peaceful. May you be free from suffering. May there be peace in the world. Namaste, and we'll check back next week. Keep in mind if there's anything in particular you'd like to see more of, or something you'd like me to answer, like a couple of folks did that last week. I'm happy to do that. It's one of the ways that we make the practice come alive a bit. So anyway, folks, Have peaceful weeks, and it was really like lovely to be hanging out with you and practicing. So take good care, and I will say namaste and good night.